Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face, my card making space, and we are live, unscripted, unfiltered. And yes, I was able to enable closed captions.
Oh.
So we'll see. For the longest time, I wasn't able to figure that out, especially for live streams, but it was just there. It's probably been there the whole time. So I enabled it. As always, closed captions are going to be a little bit finicky. Over the years, I've been asked about them, and YouTube provides pretty decent ones now because for me to pay for closed captions, it's insanely expensive and I can't afford it. So we're testing it out for the live stream. We'll just see what happens. So I didn't inform the unpaid intern about that, and he was like, what's happening? So we'll see. Anyway, hello to everybody. And yes, unpaid intern, for those that aren't aware, my husband, sitting in the corner.
Yo.
He's going to help moderate and, I don't know, maybe keep me entertained or something. Not like I can't do that on my own.
I try to keep it entertaining.
Yeah. So, yeah, hello to everyone. I've got a rough idea, as usual, in my head of what I'm going to make. And we'll just see. We'll just see. So, links to everything, like they always are in the description box below the video. That applies to all my videos, whether they're live, pre-edited, all the things. And my links are affiliate links. Affiliate links just means that if you click on a link to a product that I've provided, there's a little tracking cookie and I get the credit for it. So if you end up clicking on one of my links, end up ordering something, and yeah, I end up getting credit for that order. And then it adds up throughout the month. It does not cost anyone anything other than the store sending me the kickback for it. So hopefully that makes sense. Hubby's in the timeout corner. Yeah, kind of. It kind of is the timeout corner. It's where he belongs, all right? That's where he belongs. It kind of is the timeout corner, really. It's like in this maze and this mess here in the garage. It basically is the timeout corner. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I have, like I said, a rough idea of what I'm going to make. I'm not going to like really reinvent the wheel, other than I'm going to show something a little different for a background, because I've been meaning to do this for years. And then Wendy Vecchi posted a video that popped up in my feed just earlier this morning, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to show that. We're gonna do it. So yeah, everything I think is good. I don't have any other like housekeeping or updates or anything. I had promised my last live, which was 2 weeks ago, I was gonna have so many videos coming, which, you know, life decided to take a complete detour on that. I will have a lot of content coming, hopefully, because I've been not getting stuff uploaded this month, and I have many deadlines to catch up on, and new goodies to use, old goodies to use, all the things. And then also, oh, the one housekeeping, yes, sale, because that ends, I think that ends tonight. I think it's tonight, because I think it was just for, it's either tonight or tomorrow night, but I'm just going to say tonight because I'm not 100% positive. Simon's Positively Saturated Inks, or all Simon brand inks, 20% off. I'm going to use their inks today because I love their inks. That includes the refills and everything too. So link and code and all that stuff is below for that. And then, okay, it's walk for ice cream day. I know, right? Actually, we went for a walk for ice cream the other day, and I didn't get any. I will. It's the whole braces thing. Just kind of meh. Okay, I'm gonna switch down to this. Ignore this for the moment. Okay. So, oh, I don't need that either. Let me get those out of the way. So, ink smushing. I have shown ink smushing a bajillion times in a bajillion videos. I've done it live, all the things. I've used all sorts of inks to do ink smushing with. Any water reactive ink will work for ink smushing, you know, and I've done it all sorts of ways. I've shown in lives doing it on glass, on a nonstick craft sheet, using this, etc., etc. Like run the gamut. This today will do something different, but first I'm going to show it with water. And right now I'm using this is regular white cardstock. This is not watercolor paper or like heavy stock or something meant to handle water. This is Simon's 120-pound smooth white cardstock, just basic. And normally with ink smushing, you got your inks, water, and then either something like a little stamp sleeve or a nonstick craft sheet. There was a comment about ice cream and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get my ice cream eventually. It's all good. So I like using quite often, this is just a like storage sleeve from Simon Says Stamp. It's the same one that I use to like store stamps and dies and things in. It's just flexible. A Ziploc bag works too, you know. This is nice for those that are a little bit more of a control freak, you know, because then you can see where you're placing your ink. Because normally, you know, your ink smush onto a surface and you can't see where the ink is going. But like Tim Holtz always says, you get what you get, you don't get upset. But I'm using my little inks. This is what I call my ink smushing sleeve. I keep it like on my desk and then I just wipe it off and reuse it till whatever. So I'm just gonna get a little ink on there. I'm gonna spray water. And like I said, this is regular white cardstock. So technically, regular cardstock does not handle a lot of water very well. It will depend on the cardstock. This specifically, this is because, like I said, this is Simon's 120-pound smooth white cardstock, so it is very heavyweight. It has a little bit of a coating on it, like just a smidge, so it holds up. Other cardstocks, you'll notice almost immediately when you add water, like it starts to pill, and I don't know how, if I can even show. There we go. See? This is what I'm talking about. See how it's starting to bead in a sense? Not the end of the world, not awful, but it's starting to like pill up because of the water, because this isn't meant for it. However, depending on what you're doing, you know, you can still do a decent amount of ink smushing on just straight cardstock. So we took that first color, and then I want to add a second color before I show another way to do it. Okay, so wipe all that off. So I got my little background, and it's also, of course, derp. There we go. And then I want to use some yellow ink. Just very, very bright, happy color. So same thing. Smushy ink pad onto my little sleeve. Spray on some water. And then just smushing it onto my background. And yeah, if I can, there we go. See, and like all of that, that's the cardstock starting to become like oversaturated. Yeah, there we go. Chicken skin. That's basically what it'll start to do. So this still looks fine though, especially from like a distance. In real life, you can see the like chicken skin look. This is fine. If I was continuing to add color, watercolor, like this it would literally start to peel apart. Again, it might depend on your cardstock. You might have it just start peel apart immediately. You know, if you're using like a thinner cardstock, or just some cardstocks just don't hold up. It just is what it is. But like this is decent. Like nothing horrible. Question: when buying ink from Simon, would you buy trios or pick colors from each family? Honestly, me personally, I like the trios. I like the trios, but if you're not, it depends on how you create and how you see color. You know, yeah. I like having, you know, trios, quads, however the brands, you know, set their ink palettes up. But if you're one that just you have certain colors you like and colors that you will not use, you know, just pick colors you like. You know, me, I They could come in sets of 10. I would get them all. That's just me though. You know, and I'm also a little biased. It is sent to me. I honestly, I'd purchase it if it wasn't. I do genuinely like these inks. I don't even know how many videos since they released them. I talked about this in my previous uploaded video. I was talking about, I don't even remember now when they released these inks. It's been at least a couple years, maybe longer, 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. It's been a long time now. And yeah, over the years, they've added more colors. They did post a comment. Someone was asking because with the sale, everything else, somebody was asking about these inks, and they did say that they have more colors to come. So I'm just repeating what I heard, the rumor that I heard, because I was like, because right now I think we're at like 90 colors. 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 85, 89. Yeah, they're at 90 colors right now. Do we need more? No. Are there like certain color trios I would like to see? Yeah. So, who knows? Who knows? I missed. I like getting trios to have a blending family. Yeah, like that. It is nice. If I'm so derp. Yep, gotta love the derps. And then if you're going to buy your first Simon inks, which trios would be your first ones to buy to start the collection? I would just go for the trios that, again, appeal to you. I hate telling people, in fact, I don't tell people what colors to get of anything because I get asked that a lot. Like, what distress colors, what Copic colors, and I get it, especially when you're looking at like a huge palette of color, like where to start. I get that. I just don't like telling because it's like what I like doesn't apply to everyone. You know, so I would just go for the color combos that you really like that just speak to you. You know, when I see like, ooh, purples or bright pinks or, you know, that's usually where I end up starting. Yeah. And there's always options. And yeah, right now, like end of today, they got the 20% off their positive saturating inks. That said, it's not like the end of the world. Like you don't need to get the whole ink line. If you do, great, wonderful, have fun. But they do like Simon brand sales a couple times a year too, and that would also apply to things. Just, you know, so it's not like this is your only chance to get them on sale. Don't feel pressured. So I hope that makes sense. So yeah, so this is just this ink smushed background that I was doing, and I just used two. I wanted this background's going to be light, so I used celery and lemonade for that, and yeah, it's still wet. And then the chicken skin look, which, there we go. It's hard to show on camera, especially when I'm using like such pale ink, but that is what happens when you're using water on regular plain white cardstock. So another way to get around that, yeah, it did work. Okay, is instead of using water, is to use alcohol. Wendy Vecchi, when she did her video, it's on her Facebook page, I think, because it popped up on my Facebook feed. When she was doing it, she was using a different brand, but similar formula. Similar, not the same, but she was using a different brand of water reactive inks. The alcohol she was using was 91%. So there's a bit of a leeway. I'm just using 70% because that's what I've got on hand. And it worked. Because I did a background earlier, it worked fine. The thing that I will say though, because I'm like showing this and I'm going to use this, is just have common sense. You know, use a well-ventilated area. Don't drink it. Don't lick the artwork. Okay? You know? No, stop it. No lighted flame. You know, just it's not like dangerous per se. I just, you know, when I'm putting stuff out into the internet universe, it's like I just nah. Okay. What is your favorite brand of ink and where does it compare to Simon ink? I don't have a favorite because it just literally depends on my mood. I have Simon Positively Saturated inks. I have Concord and Ninth inks, which are very, very similar in formula and the Concord 9th have the same, like, same size ink pad, same foam ink pad, and the formula, I would say almost the same. I can't say for sure because it's not like these brands hand me their ink formulas. I wish they would because I'm just curious. But so these and Concord 9ths play very nicely together. So I have both and I like them. And the other ones I have are Altenew's Fresh Dye inks, which just different size ink pad, similar formula. Um, and those play wonderfully too. They're beautiful. Love them. There's a insane amount of colors available in the Altenew line. Love. Love. And then, of course, there's my Distress inks and Distress Oxide inks. Those are unique. The Distress and Distress Oxide, they're their own very unique formula. And that's all I have. Yeah. Oh, and the Rainbow Splash. Rainbow Splash inks, also part of the sale. Because those are through Simon Says Stamp, the Rainbow Splash inks. And also similar format, they all play nice together. Everything's great, wonderful, whatevs. Those are just what I have. And then I do have like the VersaFine Claire inks. I use these more for like stamping outlines, stamping sentiments, things like that. Do I have all the colors of this? Yeah, of course I do. I pull them out every once in a while to use different my brain stopped. To use for different projects. Anyway, you guys, I'm like all over the place. So yeah, they're all great, and there's other brands out there. You know, the whole thing with inks nowadays, especially, is there are so many options available. So many different brands have their own lines of ink. We didn't have that back in the day. We had like one option, two options, maybe if you were lucky. Now there's like a bajillion. They're all great. So if you've got an ink line that you love, that's great. It's great. You don't need multiples. I don't need multiples. One, I get multiples because I do this as a job. Some of it gets sent to me, and then I'm also just a nutter, and I'm always curious. It's like a brand, when Concord 9th released ink, I was like, ooh, add to cart, things like that. So, yeah, we don't need all the things. We just like them. And yeah, because I do get asked about like comparisons to other brands, and I just can't say because I don't have them. Doesn't mean they're bad. It's more just I literally don't have a big enough budget, and I've kind of run out of room. Like even just that, seeing that comment that Simon's going to is planning to maybe release more colors down the road. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to put them. I'll find space. I'll make it work, So yeah, we got options, and options is a wonderful thing. So, Simon Hurley just dropped some new. It's Simon Hurley's inks. It's not a new formula. Lori, it's not a new formula. The formula is the same. He changed the ink pads. Simon Hurley's inks, it's still the same. He just changed from a felt ink pad to a foam like this. I think his foam ink pad's a little firmer than this style. I don't have them, so I cannot say anything. I can't like compare or what have you. But yeah, his ink line, it's the same. So it's if people have that already, the only difference is they changed the name of it, and then they changed the actual pad itself, because his previous ink pads were the felt with the linen top. So yeah, anyway, let's do ink smushing using alcohol instead of water. So the reason where this can come in handy is what I was saying about doing ink smushing on regular cardstock, and how it gets that like chicken skin texture, might pill and tear depending on the cardstock. Mine isn't getting super warped, but it will get like warped again. It depends on the water, the cardstock, everything. This is very heavyweight cardstock, and it didn't warp too bad. But this background's still great. I'm going to save it. I'll use it on something. But another option is to use, like I said, alcohol. Just common sense, all things. And you just do the exact same thing. Like, nothing's different. Instead of spraying water, we're just spraying alcohol. That's it. So, smush my ink pad. Spray with the alcohol. Smush onto cardstock. And because it's alcohol, it is not... it does it differently because it's drying so much faster, and that will also depend on the percentage. This was 70%. The higher up you go, the more alcohol, less water content. So it's just a neat option. And like I said, just use common sense though, you know? Don't be lighting a candle or your cardstock on fire or something. Just don't do it. Don't do it. So, simple. Do you think foam will hold more color than felt? It's not about holding the color. The difference between a foam ink pad and one within a felt, because these ones, even though they're round, this is a felt ink pad. This is your standard, what we had for many years, where it's felt and then there's like a linen top. The distress inks and distress oxides have always been felt with a linen top. Simon's previous ink line was felt with a linen top, etc. The reason why some brands are using foam is, and just like this is why it's called Pawsitively Saturated, is you can get more ink onto your stamp or your blending brush or whatever easier, faster. So you get just smoother coverage. Like when you're inking up a stamp, you get smoother coverage. Whereas because if you're familiar with a felt and linen type, you gotta like sometimes like reef on it to get like even coverage. Is it the end of the world? No. It depends on the brand and all the things. Both are great. I have had no problems. There are some claiming that the foam doesn't hold up as well. Honestly, I've had these ink pads, the original colors, whatever was released, for how many years. I create professionally. I use these a lot. A lot. A lot. I've had zero problem. Like not a single issue. And I'm heavy handed. Like, I'm tapping brushes. I'm going direct. I've literally done blackout techniques with some of my ink pads, like full on direct to cardstock. I haven't had a problem. That said, I would say yes, foam ink pads technically wouldn't last as long as what a felt and linen ink pad would, just because this is softer. That also means that these do need to be re-inked more frequently than these because you're using more ink. So I do have the re-inkers for all of my Pawsitively Saturated. I need to get my Concord 9.3 inkers. I need to get re-inkers for these. That's on the list.
So many lists.
So many things. So that's my thing. I travel full time on our fifth wheel space, and I use hammer mill cardstock because it works. With chickens. Yeah, with the hammer mill, because the hammer mill is quite a bit thinner. Try it with alcohol. See what happens. You could probably get some pretty decent results. Because that's just it. When you don't have, like, I have many options, like the Simon 120-pound smooth white. This is my go-to for me. I use it for pretty much absolutely everything. I do have the Nina. I have hammer mill, yada, yada, yada. Do I need them? Not really, but I have them. So this is what I reach for. But I also understand that not people don't have a bajillion options. I get it. Okay. So I think that, okay, let's get back to, what was it? Oh yeah, I want to finish this little background. So yeah, this one that I did with the alcohol, it has like I'm not even going to be able to show it. Compared to the one with water, like hardly any texture whatsoever. Again though, it'll depend on your, the cardstock you're using, So it's just an option. Why not? I remember years ago, and I don't even remember what maker did that. This was years ago. This was before YouTube. I'm talking like archaic card making days when all we had was a forum. I remember a maker way back then using alcohol to watercolor with. I still have never tried that. One of these days I should. So anyway, ideas. So yeah, smush my little ink pad and sprayed it with alcohol, and then ink smushed. And just simple. And because it dries a lot faster, and there's like, it's hard to tell, like this one, so you can kind of see this one is the alcohol, this one was water. So it's the teensiest bit of warping, but not really. This one's a little more warped, but not, it's not awful. You know, it's not awful. So I just thought I would show that. Why not? Just an idea. And then, like I always say, I use this. I generally only use, other than for ink smushing, I use it to clean up like my work surface. I'll use it to clean this off. I'll use it to clean my stencils. Do not use alcohol on your photopolymer stamps or your grip mats, because those are also photopolymer. Do not use alcohol on them. If you have in the past, it's not the end of the world, but alcohol can degrade photopolymer over time, and it can start to get like sticky, and not the good kind of sticky, the kind of sticky that like it's degrading, so you're going to lose the definition of your stamps. So no to this on stamps, but glass, plastic, that kind of stuff, heck yeah, it works. It works. So anyway, those were the ones I did. This is one I did earlier, which for whatever reason I prefer. I don't know why. And it's dry, and there's like almost no texture on it, like at all. This one, it's got that little bit of chicken skin, which is harder to tell. So that was done with water. That was done with alcohol. Sort of similar, you know? It just depends. It really depends. And it, as far as vibrancy goes, that will also depend and will vary even between, like I use the same colors. That was just the celery and lemonade. That will depend on how much water or alcohol you spray as well, you know, because the more you spray, the more it's diluting the color. So yeah, like 3 completely like different looking backgrounds using just 2 inks and water, alcohol, alcohol. So it just, it's always fun. That's the thing with experimenting in backgrounds. Isn't the alcohol going to change the way the ink looks? It can. It can. You never know. For the most part, it's not going to do anything crazy. It might. You never know. Like, especially with distress inks, and I would say the oxides, because of the mixture in that formula, it could do some neat things. You never know. But I don't think it would do anything different than just water, because the alcohol just evaporates really quickly anyway. But again, you could experiment, see what happens. So I'm saving those backgrounds. We'll do something. I'll do something with them, like probably die cut them from them or run them through with an embossing folder, something. You never know. You never know. But there's our background. Just simple. Simple. And then for the main event, we're going to use other colors and the Poised Primula wafer die. I did a video using this a couple weeks ago, whenever it was. I don't remember. It wasn't that long ago. And I wanted to use it again because it's super cute and I like it. So I die cut it from some watercolor paper. Nothing crazy. And then I need to stick them to one of my very loved stamp and stencil mat. It's got its little bit of adhesive on it just to hold everything in place so that I can add color to the little floral bits. And I die cut extras. I ran this through like 2 or 3 times with the watercolor paper because I wasn't sure how many I'd want. Plus I was like, ooh, I can add a few maybe to the inside of the card. We'll just see. So I'll just color them all because it's going to be quick and simple. And I'm planning on using like little gems and whatnot for the flower centers, but I'll still color some of these flower centers in case I do end up adding some to the inside of the card. So we'll color a few of those. And I did the same thing with the greenery bits. I die cut it more than once because I want to have like, I'm probably going to cut apart some of these and have, because I want like way more leaves. Because if you've ever seen, they're primroses, but this one's a specific type, they have a lot of greenery. So I die cut extra. And then I can move that out of the way. And then for these, I'm gonna go bright. I wanted my background to be more subtle. The florals, I wanted bright. Super bright. So we got that. We got this. Where's my little brush? I forgot to get my brushes out. There we go. That's the one I wanted. Okay. Got my little watercolor brushes. Okay. And then non-porous surface. I could have used my smushing sleeve as well instead of this, but this at least, because if it's like white background, it makes it a little easier to see exactly what's what. And then just smush my ink onto the palette. So I got Zest and Rose for the blooms. And then I'm going to mix a couple shades of green for the greenery. So I got Limelicious and Lucky for my greens.
Those are some fun color names.
Yes.
Lucky and Limelicious.
Limelicious. So yeah, all the color names. Oh, and the other thing, shameless plug, advertising. Simon Says Stamps, Positively Saturated Inks, they come pre-labeled, which is a pretty sweet perk. I don't know of any other ink brands that come pre-labeled on the sides. You know, they all have labels on the top, but having them on the sides. I've seen people and people have asked me about that, like, why don't they already provide that? Because it's extra work. Like, they have to do this. Like, somebody has to manually put these on there. Or I don't know if they have a machine that does it for them. If they do, that's insane. But yeah, Simons do come pre-labeled, which is pretty sweet. I don't mind labeling my inks. It's just, when I get inks, I get the labels, stick them on. I've even done live streams while I just sit and chat with you guys while I'm putting labels on. I don't mind it, but these ones do come pre-labeled, which is nice. My only thing, and I need to contact them, add that to my list of 5 million things that I need to do and contact, is I wish Simon would sell a separate set of labels, because I would still manually put another one on the other side, because they do only come labeled on one side. So I need another set of labels, because it does sometimes annoy me when I put the lid on, and it's like, I will literally take the time to line it up. I need this one. See, I did it with that one too. I'm annoyed. See, and that one. So I will sit there and I will do that because it bugs me. So I need labels on the other side. That's just my thing. Okay. So then, got some water. There we go. And then I'll zoom in. This is going to be like the simplest, there we go, type of watercoloring literally ever. Is it dyes or dyes? Kitty, it depends on what you're referring to. The first one is Wafer dyes. Is that spelled? The second one is dye as in dye ink. So it depends on what you're referring to. First one with the I, metal wafer dyes. Second one with the Y, dye as in dye ink. Okay, so 2 brushes, water. I have my cloth so I can wipe my brush off in between colors. And I just keep that kind of off to the side. And then all I do is I take a wet brush that just has water on it. I'll wet a couple of them, a couple of my little die cuts, and then I'll pick up the yellow ink and I'm going to drop it right towards the base of the petal, just like that. I'll add a little bit more, and then I'll take the pink, and I want that on the edges. So drop that in like that. And then I can go back with the yellow if I want, and a little bit more water, let them kind of mix back and forth. Bring in a little bit more of that pink right there. And that's it. Super, super, super simple. In fact, I need my cloth. I'm using that one. There we go. Okay. And then I just keep repeating that. Because when I was looking at images of these flowers, one that stood out to me had like really bright yellow in the center, like this, and then it went to like this insanely vibrant pink. And I was like, that's what I want to do today. Because the more vibrant, the better, in my opinion. Just like that. Super, super simple. And by getting it wet first, like that, it just gives a place for the ink or watercolor. You can do this with watercolor too, it doesn't matter, to move. Because it will travel to wherever the water is. And then it makes it blend easier. And yeah, you can do this with any water reactive ink or watercolors. Either one will work just fine. And then I can just kind of go back and forth to like soften it a little bit, let it do its thing. And then I just keep repeating. So wet a little bit of yellow. Wipe off the brush. And then go in with the really bright pink. And because I'm working on the Stampin' Stencil mat, this will, as you can see, it will get stained. It's going to continue to get stained. When this live is over, I'm just going to take this to the sink and rinse it under water and then let it air dry. That won't remove the staining, but it'll just remove any excess ink like sitting on top of everything, you know? And then I just keep reusing. So we're going to just keep working our way around with all of these little blooms. Get it wet. And then go in with the yellow. And it will always depend on just how much water you've added, how things move. There's a lot of water on that one, so it just went psh, which is fine. And then go in with the very bright pink. And then I'll go back to kind of soften the area between the two colors. So I'll pick up a bit more of that yellow. And just kind of bring it right up to where the pink is. Let them get to know each other. Soften that blend a little bit. And then just let it air dry. Oh, they named her dog Bo.
I know.
That was our dog's name. We lost him a couple years ago. Chris and I were just talking about him yesterday. Well, we talk about Bo a lot. We miss him. Oh, sad.
We missed some parts of him anyway.
He was a neurotic little goober. He was wonderful, but also just, he was neurotic. And allergic to everything. Oy, that dog. Anywho. So for the little ones, I'm going to do the exact same thing. And that's where a little brush kind of comes in handy. Because I do plan on sort of layering a bunch of these up. Or several, not necessarily a bunch. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I have a rough idea in my head of what I'm doing today. We'll just see if it works. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, continue on. Get it wet with just clean water. I see how much of this yellow I can pick up. I'm using up almost all of it. So drop in the yellow. Just like so. I need more yellow. I need more yellow. Watercoloring takes practice. I sound like a broken record, but it is true. It used to annoy the heck out of me when I was trying to figure out watercolor, and everyone, like all the experts, just kept saying, like, practice, practice. And I was like, you're not helping. It's true.
It's true though, right?
The more you do it,
Yeah.
because it is. It's not necessarily that your results are bad. It's you lack the confidence. And the confidence comes with practice. I struggled with watercoloring when I first started doing it. Like I had a hard time. And then the more I did it, especially like messy watercolor, I would watch other people and I was like, oh, how do you know how to do that? You know? And the more I started playing with it, you know, and experimenting with it and doing it over and over and over and over and over again, the more confident I got. It doesn't necessarily mean that my results are always the greatest, but at the bare minimum, I'm happy with it. I can always improve big time. But you do just need to practice with it. Just play with it.
10,000 hours, right?
Oh, yeah. 10,000 hours. And then it'll also vary depending on whether you're using inks, watercolors, the paper, so many things. But, and I said this in the last video I did too, die cuts. I find them to be the most freeing in a lot of ways because you're just adding color to a die cut. You know, there's no stamp line. You don't have to worry about like, oh, if I get color where I don't want it, you know, on your background or a different area of a stamped image. It's like you're just concentrating on just one piece, one little die cut or a bigger die, it doesn't matter, you know? And I also it doesn't matter. You know, I use inks for it. You can use watercolors. You can use all sorts of things, you know? Highly recommend just die cut some pieces from watercolor paper, slap some color on, see what happens. So yeah, it's a good way. I wish I had thought or had known, because when I first started watercoloring, all the wafer dye styles of wafer dyes we have now, we didn't have back then. We didn't have all the like layering dyes and all these fun little things. I wish I'd had them back then because I think I would have had a lot more fun experimenting. Because back when I started, the whole concept was more like doing entire backgrounds or scenes, you know, painting scenes with watercoloring, which is very intimidating. You know, stamping large stamps with tons and tons of detail and then watercoloring them in, you know, which can also be freeing in a sense, but die cuts, they're simple. They're so simple. And then especially little florals, because florals are forgiving in my opinion. And you can use whatever colors you want. You can be, you know, you can do like I did and I Googled and got some color inspiration, but you could also just do whatever you want. Like, who cares? Who cares? Like, there is no watercolor police.
There isn't.
There's
Right.
not. And like we've had this conversation before. If you give a card to someone and they start nitpicking it, they don't get another handmade card. You know? If they're going to be anything other than just like, wow, thank you for thinking of me, then like, heck no. You know? Because seriously, if someone gives me a card that they spent time and effort to make, I'm not going to be like, that is not an accurate color representation of this Primula or whatever, you know? Seriously. So, just my 2 cents on that. Oh,
When the
flowers.
gnomes were gray.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, it's a card. Some people are just miserable. And if giving them a handmade card doesn't cheer them up, then they don't get cards no more. Simple. I've literally done that with people. It's like they were jerks about the card I gave them, and I was like, you're never getting another one from me. Like, no thank you. So anyway. Splatter. Oh yeah. And like Michelle says, yes, splatter fixes all the mistakes. Always. And of course, like, I'm not necessarily making mistakes per se, but we're gonna add splatter anyway. So even if you don't make mistakes, add splatter. Who cares? That's my rule. Keep flower catalogs for color inspiration. Yeah. And Google. Like, on Google, I will Google a flower. Like, I put Primula in, and then you just click on the images tab, and you just get flooded with a ton. And I love it. I love it, especially depending on what I'm Googling. You know, I'll type in something, and other things will pop up. Like I was Googling a certain flower the other day, and like teaware and, you know, artistic pieces popped up in the image search, and I was like, oh, I like that take on it, you know, things like that. Love it. Love it. So for the greenery, it's literally the same thing. Just, I'm going to use my larger brush for this. Get it wet with the water. Doop, doop, doop. And then we'll drop in the lighter green, which is the Limelicious. And then I'll add some here. And then we'll go in with the Lucky, which is much more intense. In fact, I'll even mix them together right on my palette. Why not? Oh yeah. I like that a lot. I'm going to use a lot more of this Limelicious ink, and that's fine. Just like so. So you just muck with it. Muck with it. And I'm going to add a whole bunch more of the Limelicious to my palette because I can already tell I'm going to use a lot of it. And this is another one that I actually need to re-ink. Just like, there we go. There we go. Because I really like the color I get, the green I get from mixing these two. Yes. Yes. So add a bit of that in.
The color it blends into looks like our hostas.
Kind of. I wonder how big the hostas will get this year.
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully, like,
they won't get huge for the most part. They might, but we only planted them last year, so they take a few years. They get bigger every year. They get bigger every year. And side note, I think I've mentioned this. Yeah, we were talking about peonies in one of my lives. My peach peony survived.
Yay.
I should have added that to the beginning to like all the important announcements. My peach, I have a peach peony that's kind of somewhat rare at the moment that I paid a small fortune for last year. It's growing. All my peonies came up. The yellow one I got, I have a yellow one, and then the ones in front. And then I was gifted a rare fern leaf peony, which I actually used to own many, many years ago. In the before times, literally, like before the unpaid intern was in my life, everything. Hopefully they'll survive because those ones are very, very finicky to, they don't like being transplanted at all. So Chris and I planted them a few days ago, and
they're still trying.
Yeah, they're struggling right now, but as long as they can establish themselves, that's all I care about. Because peonies take years to fully like come into their own, like 4 to 5 years. And yeah, I love peonies. They are my favorite. Okay. I struggle not wanting to leave the hard lines. I struggle with not wanting to leave the hard lines. I want the transition to be smooth, even though I know it's not necessary. That again, practice. That is That is, and that was especially one of the hardest things in learning with watercolor is controlling your water. That is literally the biggest struggle, is controlling your water. And that's where you can get like hard lines, because if you want to smooth bone, things like that. However, practice, and also, yeah, like I I I encourage doing like little die cuts, things like that, and just trying to let go. Because sometimes I'll get a smooth transition and it's great, but sometimes the hard lines are kind of fun with watercolor. It creates texture, you know? It just depends. Um, my husband teases me about the time I spend on making cards for males. I just recently learned my teenage grandsons look forward to and save the birthday cards I send them. That's adorable. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. That's so cute.
it is.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. That is another one of those things, though, that, and I've said this, when it comes to card making, a lot of times, is I try not to overthink it. It's like I get enjoyment out of the making process, making the card and sending it to someone, or hand delivering it when the time warrants that. And then I don't worry about it, because people over the years, I've seen the threads and the conversation, and everything, like, get really hung up over like the person receiving it and what they do with it. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If they don't say anything to you, like if they're not nitpicking about it, or you don't hear anything, because they're like, and they throw it in the trash, you don't know. They might save it forever. They might display it, or yeah, maybe they'll just toss it out. Who knows? But I don't worry about it. Once it's out of my hands, it's like I hope it brightens someone's day. And if they save it and all that, that's awesome. It's cute, but I'm not gonna worry about it. You know, because like I'm just gonna worry about the next one I'm making. Because otherwise, you're gonna drive yourself insane. Stressing about it. And I do like um, there are funny stamps that different brands have made. I know Riley and Company has made them, and I have a couple of. I think they were Impression Obsession, and I actually, where did they go? I don't even know where they went. Darn it! Because I would have shown them if I could remember where they are. I have one that it's like this card took like blood, sweat, and tears, and da 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 da. Like it must be put on display. Things like that. It's funny. Um, I don't remember where those stamps went though. I had them on display, and then they grew legs. Now I'm annoyed. Where'd they go?
What are you looking for?
They're little wooden stamps that have funny sayings on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, because I keep them on display, and I put them somewhere again. Everything's a disorganized mess. Anyway, there's funny ones like that. And yeah, it's like this card took blood, sweat, and tears and like $500 worth of supplies, because we all know how much it costs to make a card. I always laugh in some ways when a newbie gets into card making, and it's like, I got into card making to save money. I'm like, okay, okay. But yeah. Robbie's coworker saves all the cards you've made him. That's so cute. I love it. I love it. Yeah, there are people that just understand, the concept of something being handmade, you know? People also get hung up over whether it's considered handmade when we're using die cuts or stamps or whatever. Same thing. I just don't worry about that kind of stuff. I'm not going to start like semantic arguments, over what's considered art, what's considered handmade, yada yada yada. I see it as just time and effort was put into something. That's what I see. Someone put time and effort into making something, whether it was a card or a gift or whatever. And I think that literally fits the definition of it's the thought that counts, because actual thought was put into it. Because I don't really like that phrase. It's the thought that counts. That one just gets under my skin. Because like thoughts and prayers, But there are times where it is the thought that counts. That's just my opinion anyway. Do we all have a card list? People who get cards or not? Yeah, again, it just depends, you know? I didn't necessarily ever really need to keep a list, but there were a couple people in my life that, you know, just did not in any way appreciate me making a card for them. And the only reason I even like is because especially there was one person in my life, this was many years ago, like I would purchase specific sets to make cards for that person because it was like, oh, and like I would customize the card to the nines. It was like I would put in an insane amount of time, effort, and money into making art. Like some of those cards probably ended up really being over $100 just in what I put into them. And the person just did not care at all. So it was like I just stopped doing it. It's like why am I putting in this much effort for someone who doesn't appreciate it at all, you know? But I got really in the end, like I'm not bitter because it's like I had a ton of fun making them, you know? I got to be creative and meh. Okay. So I'm still slapping on all my color here. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Let's add a bit more of that darker green. This one and that one. And then that. There. There we go. So now I can kind of zoom out a bit. There we go. A friend of mine hangs up all my cards and she builds me furniture. I need a friend like that.
I know, right?
I need a friend like that. Man, I wish I knew somebody who could build stuff for me because the amount of things I could hire someone to, like, I need bookcases because I'm really tired of IKEA crap. Like, so many things. So many things. Anyway, when all is said and done, wipe off the palette. Wipe it off a second time to make sure I got everything out of there. I'm not worried about the stem. I'm not worried about that. These I'm gonna like cut apart and tuck in. Like I'm only technically planning on using one on my card. I don't think I'm even gonna use two, but I want to tuck in like green pieces. So some of these I'm gonna snip apart. There's a method to the madness. No worries there. And that I don't want to lose because that's the backing. So these guys, we can just pop them all off here, which makes them a lot easier to see when they're not being distracted by the absolute mess I have on my little stamp and stencil mat. So now I have this little cluster of all these little blooms, just like so. And then just be careful, depending on the type of die cut, the type of watercolor paper, etc. Like just be careful because like if they're still wet, you don't want to tear them. Like, you know, this is a very delicate piece, but he's not super stuck down, so I'm not too worried. But like the leaves are not fully dry yet. There we go. And then yeah, this I'll just rinse underwater. No adhesive or no soap and no scrubbing because this has like, you know, temporary stick adhesive on it. And if you were to use soap or scrub, you would literally scrape the adhesive right off. So I just hold this on the sink, rinse it with water, let it air dry, and literally rinse and repeat. And it'll stain, like I said, but it's fine. And then I just use it over and over again. I've been using the same one for over a year now, I think. So I'll clean him later. Yeah, I have that stamp, Rochelle. Enclosed is a handmade card. As such, it deserves a place of honor and respect in your home and should not be casually discarded like an ordinary store-bought card. I have that stamp. Where did I put them? Where did they go? They grew legs.
They did.
Oh. Ha. Yep, found them.
Found it?
Yeah. Okay. These were made by, goodness, Judakins. search the Simon store. They might still carry these because I'd ordered these from Simon Says Stamp. Type in JU, like get on the Simon site. JUDIKINS.
Judykins?
Yep. And then scroll down. Keep going. Oh, there they are. One of them's on there. They both are on there. One sold out. But you can like put that into the link thingy.
Sure.
Anyway, okay. So we found one. Yeah, I got these from Simon Says Stamp. The one is sold out, but the other one is in stock. So yeah, enclosed is a handmade card. As such, it deserves a place of honor and respect in your home and should not be casually discarded like an ordinary store-bought card. Love it. And then this one is, this is an individually crafted work of art. Any smudges, splotches, or other irregularities are intentional and do not diminish the quality of this piece in any way. I keep forgetting about these. This one I have stamped on the back of things. I don't even think I've stamped this one. I gotta like peel this off and straighten it because I can already tell it's crooked on the block, which is annoying. I need to like, I'll just have to heat it up a little bit to straighten it. But yeah, I got those years ago, but they still carry them and they're just funny, you know, to stamp like either on the envelope or just on the back of your cards. I think it's cute. So I keep those on display. I just couldn't remember where I put them. Anywho. Okay, back to what we were actually doing here. I need to, where did it go? There it is. I got this. I have hair everywhere. What on earth? Why? Okay, there we go. So yeah. Chris linked to them. Oh, it'd be in the chat for you guys. Like I said, the one is sold out currently. I'm sure they'll be able to get more in stock, and then the one is in stock right now. But yeah, they're just fun little. I just get a kick out of those. It's such a good little, like, almost like disclaimer to have on the back of cards, because why not? So, the other thing. The one I have linked in the supplies is the Tim Holtz shaping toolkit. Same sort of thing. It's same thing. It's basically just a thick foam pad and a stylus with very large ends. Mine is old as the hills. And, you know, I've got other styluses that I use as dotting tools that have much smaller ends, but this one is big dude. This comes in handy for things like this. So you stick your little die cuts and generally use it for like florals. But you stick them on here and then you take your stylus and you start in the center. It's kind of hard to show with something so small. And you just kind of make a circular motion as you're pressing it into the foam and it curls up the flower to give it dimension. So that's all you do. And it's quick and easy. And it just gives all that extra dimension to the little die cuts. And then I can do the same thing with the smaller ones. With the smaller ones, I'll flip it and I'll use, instead of using the biggest side, I'll use the smaller one. And same thing. You just kind of start in the center and you just do little tiny circular motions as you're pressing it into the foam and it just curls up all those little flowers. Doop. And then you technically, with things like this, you could also do is instead of doing a circular motion, you'll do like a dragging motion. And that can also like...
Is that like a seam kind of thing?
No, it causes, because the cardstock naturally will, because when you're pressing into it, it curls it up. So it does that. It just builds dimension. So you can do the same thing. You just drag it. And it depends on what I'm being sort of careful, also sort of not really, but because these were die cut and pierced, you just want to be careful with the pressure because it can start to, you can end up like tearing it, but these are fine. They're fine. So you can just drag like that. And then it just immediately curls. So then you don't have to like sit there doing it with your fingers, especially if like your hands hurt or trying to fiddle with little die cuts, curling them up. This makes it so much easier because you literally just do and then drag. And then, yeah, it just curls everything up just a bit. It just gives it that little extra something. There we go. There we go. So that's the little shaping kit doomahickey, and comes in handy. This is why I don't throw like anything out. It's just trying to find it half the time. Like, yeah, I was trying to find something else, and I found this in a drawer, and I was like, oh yeah, comes in handy. So now that I remember to have it, it's a nice little tool to have on hand for little extra bits. So I'm not going to adhere anything yet. One, I want these to be like fully dry. They're mostly dry, but I want everything to be fully dry first. So I'm just going to kind of go like that, make a little pile, and then move that over. I do paper quilling, so this technique, yes. Though people that do paper, especially because when you're using cardstock, yes, because how can I show that? Here we go. Let me take, because the concept of using a shaping tool, because if you were trying to use like heavyweight cardstock and you want to curl it, the minute you start doing that, you start getting, see how it's like, I don't know if I can show, this isn't a good color really, I don't think, to show. See how it's just kind of, and there are technically wrinkles, but of course this color doesn't want to show it. Maybe this color will show up better on camera. And that means I'll need a second piece. Doop. So yeah, when you're trying to curl cardstock manually, as I like to say, like with just your fingers, one, it's not easy to start the initial curl. And then a lot of times it's going to bend, it's going to get wrinkles, and it's going to bend, and it's not very smooth. Whereas if you take the foam, I already lost myself, there you go, and the stylus, and then you can just, again, you just drag it. Because that is just breaking up those paper fibers. And see how it's already like naturally just starting to curl. So then you're not getting those weird wrinkles or cracks in the cardstock, because the heavier weight the cardstock is, the more prone it will be to cracking. This is the exact same concept as why I score my cardstock before folding in half to make a card base. Because if you notice your cards, if you're not scoring it or not scoring it properly, and the cardstock cracks when you fold it closed, it's because the paper fibers are just going like that, and they need to be broken with either a stylus or like a bone folder. So, yeah. There we go. And he's not eating it. That we don't have any M&Ms.
Nope.
We haven't bought any in a while. We got to add that to the Costco list. So anyway, that's paper fibers. Yeah, I'm all over the place today. Okay. Speaking of heavyweight cardstock, where's my sentiment? I wanted to use this one. I thought we would white heat emboss. This is the CZ Design Inside Greetings 1 set. I've used this multiple times in multiple videos. And I assume, because it says Inside Greetings 1, I mentioned this in another live, I think, I assume that means that we're going to get more, which I am here for. Yes. Like Jacqueline says, you can spritz paper with water to loosen paper fibers. Something like this, like these little florals, I wouldn't spritz with water because, I'm watercoloring. The water would reactivate and start getting things messy. But yes, water does loosen paper fibers. You just got to be careful with, it depends on the weight of the paper you're using, and just like a light mist usually is all you need of water. And then I would flip it over and use the other side to like use a tool if I was doing paper quilling or just trying to curl up cards or whatever it is you're trying to do. So, anywho, I've die cut this with, where'd it go? The petal tipped labels. It's another one I've used multiple times because I absolutely love it. It is, I really like this shape. It's decorative and pretty. So I die cut some black cardstock with this, and then I'm going to use the lines on my grip mat to kind of center it, just like so that I can center or like line up my sentiment. And I want it kind of off to the side. That's my plan anyway. Get that lined up. Thank you, Twyla. I guess we can get him some M&Ms now. He's not gonna starve. Okay, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Well, I guess I can't make up any excuses. Nope. I have to get him some M&Ms. Mm-hmm. Okay, I got it lined up, and then anti-static powder tool, and this just helps keep embossing powder from clinging to anything other than the stamped image. And then I'm going to just ink this up with white pigment ink because that's just what I happen to grab. Clear embossing ink works great too. Either one is fine. I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to ink it up a second time just because. There we go. And then I'm going to coat this with detail white embossing powder. Just like so. Yep. Okay. Got detail white embossing powder. And then we gotta melt that with the heat tool. Okay. Yep. Just till it's smooth melted. And I want to clean this stamp off because I might be using it again. We'll see. It needs to be cleaned off anyway. Move that there. Put that there. And then I need to take my, where did my there it is, my microphone. He doesn't get paid. He should have his M&Ms. Oh, I get him snacks. I do get him snacks. The M&Ms we just haven't bought in a while.
No, we haven't got them. No, we don't usually get a whole bunch during like mini egg season.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of mini eggs. And I have been sharing them with him, okay? And I stocked up because they went on clearance. I had one of my kids contacted me at, friggin' Walmart. And they were like more than half off. So I was like, get mommy a couple bags. So yeah. Yeah, M&M season, takes a backseat to mini egg season. Oh, so good. So yeah, now that mini egg season's over, I'll get him some M&M. He'll be happy. There we go. So anyway, the microfiber cloth is just to buff off that excess anti-static powder because that looks ugly, obviously. So just buff it off, and then we've got our sentiment on the black cardstock. Love. And then we have our background. there's definitely going to be some splatter happening. Yes. First, I want to trim this down a little bit. I want this to be slightly smaller than... Barb's on your side, Chris. Trust me, y'all. I take care of him. He gets snacks.
Yeah. We do a good job of looking after each other.
Yep. Ooh, I got schmutz on that. Okay. Anyway, I'm trimming off like a 1/4 inch. So this is going to be like 5 1/4 by, of course, when you say a bag, you mean the 1 kilogram bag. Well, they aren't a kilogram anymore because of shrinkflation. Don't even get me. I could rent. They used to be bigger than a kilogram. Like when we get bag of mini inks, I'm talking like the big bag, the big daddy bag. Anything else, they just don't taste the same. I don't care. Anyway, I love mini eggs. But yeah, they've gone up in price and the bags are like, they hold half as much as they used to. I noticed. Anyway, I trimmed the background down because my card base, I thought a black card base. And then the really bright flowers. Yes, I think that's going to work. And then I also thought about adding some baker's twine if I can get to it without knocking everything over. Yeah. Okay. Last time he got your candy that you can't even... Oh, yeah, the wintergreen mints.
Yeah.
I'm still sad about those. Luann. In fact, those are behind you if you want some of your wintergreen mints.
Yeah, I might.
Somebody might as well enjoy them because, yeah. I only like those wintergreen, the wintergreen lifesavers. Yeah, love them. But those, I don't enjoy just sucking on them. Like I need to chew them. That's the only way I can enjoy those things, and I can't do that with the buttons on my teeth for these braces. So I can't have those darn things for like 2 more years. So he gets them because I bought I'm not enormous bags of them. I wasn't thinking. Oh well. Anyway, baker's twine. I wrapped it around. I didn't give myself enough leeway. Let's move that a little bit. Okay. So wrapped it around my cardstock like so. I can't. Oh my goodness, you guys. You get me distracted when we're talking about snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Start that. Wrap it around. There we go. Okay. I had to stop thinking about snacks. And then I can put my bow right about there. So we start the bow right there, and reverse tweezers for the win. There we go. And then I take my reverse tweezer and pinch where the knot started so it holds it closed. And then you make a bunny ear, and then you go up and around and then pull through to make the bow. I have not pulled anything tight yet because baker's twine is several threads twisted, and if you pull it tight and then try to adjust, it'll just keep twisting, and then your bow starts looking just dumb. So I keep it all, and that's why the reverse tweezers are just wonderful. Okay. There we go. And then you pull tight, remove tweezers, pull tight again, and then I'm just going to give it one last little zhuzh. And there's our little baker's twine bow. And then I can just go like that. So we got that. And then we got that. And I'm going to pop this up with some foam tape. Okay. And then snacks are an important part of card making. They are.
Yep.
Except I can't enjoy snacks as much with these braces. So I even like, you know, my little boop dish. I talked about that in one of the lives and I was like, it's great for holding snacks. It has been sadly free of snacks. Wah. I'll survive. Okay. I'm gonna put some Big Mama foam tape on the back of this. It'll give it a little bit of dimension, but not a ton. Just like so. Like so. There we go. So we got that. And then yep, I'm still live. I went on very many little side excursions today. Talking about all different sorts of things. Yeah, okay. We got the foam tape. So then I can center this guy. Looks good. So we got that. Just like so. And then I need my little Primula. Now since I popped that up with foam tape, I'm going to put a couple of teeny little bits right there. I am not putting any under the stem because I don't have that level of patience at all. Not happening. So I'll just use some thin foam squares. Yeah, if I take one of these guys and if I cut I'm just trying to think because I also want to tuck in, like I had said, I plan on tucking in more. How do I want to do this? Ooh, okay. I'm going to adhere them together first before, and then instead of trying to tuck in the extra pieces amongst the foam tape. So I'll take a bit of glue, and this is why I have all of these extra little bits, because then I can do like that. So I can add a bit of glue like that, and then I can adhere that like that, and it's just going to fill it out a bit more so that it has a bit more like weight to it. You know what I mean? Same with this guy. If I take, I need my detail scissors. You snip off the stem, and then I can take that piece and just kind of tilt it like that, and then it will also give some extra filler. So put a little bit of glue, and then I just take it, tilt it a bit like that. So then it's got just way more green bits. No, that's good. Yes. Just like that. So then that actually gives me a spot to put a foam square right behind there. So then that will even out some of the spaces. And then I can take this one and give it, if I go like that, I'll need to cut just a smidge off of it. And then if we tuck that in rather, Yes. We can stick one right there. And we should be good. So we've got dupe, dupe. Get that little piece off of there. And then I can take my stem, add some adhesive. Like that. And then we'll just take him and stick him into place. And then press him down. And him I'll just have to hold for a second because I curled up all those leaves. So hold him for a second. And then we've got the stem in place, and now we just need to start adhering some of the flowers. My plan was to kind of like cluster up some of them so I can adhere. This is also where the tweezers will come in handy. So I can put some adhesive on the back. And then press it into place. And then I can add another dot of adhesive like that. And then take a smaller one. Stick that in there. And just start building it up. So we can do that. I could tuck this little guy in. Kind of flatten him back a little bit more so I can tuck him in kind of behind that one. Like that. And then like that. And then this one. Yes, this one I will double up. I've seen stems like that after the deer ate the blooms. Yeah. You know, if depending. Could be a good card idea if you have someone that, you know, has to deal with that all the time. That one I'm going to pop a little, go back where you belong. I'm moving too quickly and not letting the glue dry. Oh, that's okay. I'll glue him back in a second. Okay, this guy, I'm gonna pop into place with a foam square. And then, there we go. Just like that. And then I can do, how do I want to do this one? Do I want to do a little one? Probably. Yeah, that would look cute. Okay. This one needs, and here I am when I say it's like, I don't bother. I don't have patience to chop up little pieces of foam squares, blah, blah, blah. And here I am, like, literally doing what I say I don't like doing. Whatever. Pop that guy in right there. And add a little dollop of glue. Stick another one in right there. Just like that. And then just because I can, I'm going to tuck one more in. And then I'll save those last ones for the inside of the card. But I'm going to tuck one in right there because it just belongs right there. That's why. Okay. So then that guy I'll just hold for a second. That's really weird. The number watching changes, but the thumbs up isn't accurate. Oh, those sorts of things like numbers watching, thumbs upping, yada yada. Especially with lives, YouTube has a weird little algorithm because I've noticed that it fluctuates during the live stream. Obviously, like with how many people are watching, that number fluctuates, and then the whole thumbs up thing, same thing. Like it fluctuates. I don't worry about it too much. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you that show up for my lives. I appreciate those that take the time to watch afterwards.
Hit thumbs up for chat.
Yep. And then the thumbs upping, chatting, commenting. I appreciate it. I try not to like fixate on it too much because I talked about this. Was it the last live stream? I think it was the last live stream. I talked about it. It just like concentrating too much on the numbers and like the analytics can get really depressing. It just is more so than anything. It's like what I do is creative, and nothing kills creativity than logging into your YouTube account and it's like, this video is getting less views than normal. You know, and a big old thumbs down. It's like, thanks, YouTube. Ugh. You know, weird things like that. So I try not to look at it too much. It's like, I'm going to do what I want to do. But yeah, so there's our little flowers. And that's why I wanted like bright, like, you know? So, okay. And then, yeah, splatter. It's happening. It's going to happen. Splatter. Need. Splatter. Need. Magnet. And mess. Oy, oy, oy. And 2 types of splatter, because you know that's what and that's why I needed the stamp. Where did it go? Where? There it is. I couldn't see it. So I'm going to use a stamp. Make sure it doesn't have ink on it. And I've shown this before. I did not come up with this idea. I forget who I saw do this quite some time ago. And I thought they were a brilliant genius. Seriously, I wish I could give credit to whoever thought of this. But I'm using the stamp itself as a mask so that I don't get splatter right on the sentiment because I don't want that. So everything's ready. We're going to add some white gouache for splatter. So this will be subtle. Just a bit of white gouache. Nothing too crazy. Just that. Where's my splatter brush? There it is. I was like, where did it go? Okay. So we got that. Add a bit of water to thin it out. Okay. And then I also don't care if I get splatter on my baker's twine. That doesn't faze me at all. Like I said, the white splatter is going to be more subtle because the background is very light, which was the point. That's good. That's good for the white splatter. Just subtle, you know. But of course I'm going to add black splatter.
Of course.
I'm going to add it because I can, because I like it. So get that out of there. I'm going to, since we're live, usually I just let this dry because it doesn't take very long, but since we're live, I'm going to use my heat tool, just keep it, you know, moving just to dry this. They're linked. You want to pop them in the chat? The unpaid intern was slacking. He wasn't paying attention. He was on Reddit. You were too. He was looking at memes. It's dry enough. It's dry enough. The only reason I like either let it dry or I dry it in between is because I don't want the black splatter to mix with the white. I get a little finicky about it, okay? You know? And I just, because I've noticed sometimes when I get a little too fast with what I'm doing, and then there have been times when I see it and it's like kind of swirling, it just looks weird and it bugs me. Again, man, I'm neurotic. So a little bit of black gouache. We do not need much. This stuff is insanely pigmented. There we go. So, same thing. We add a bit of water to thin it down, just like so. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. And then I'm not going to add a ton of this, contrary to popular belief, but just a bit. Just a bit. That's good. That's good. You know, it just gives it that little extra something something. There we go.
Always beauty and randomness.
Yep. Yep. There we go. Well, pokey. I do it because one, it's a job. And like I talked about, like with affiliate links and everything in the beginning of all my videos. But also because people ask. That's literally why. Why I started like with my blog way back, like over 20 years ago, and then with my YouTube channel. Why I've always made a point to link to absolutely everything humanly possible is one, to make it easy for everyone to find the things, and two, because if I don't have a link for it, people ask. Every time I forget to link to something, that's what I get asked about. It's happened so many times over the years. I try to make it like it's a habit to just link to everything, even for my lives, which sometimes takes an insane amount of time, but it's all good. So anyway, my stamp masked the sentiment. So now I can just take it off. There we go. I accidentally bought 2 of the gouache sets. It depends. You know, if you start splattering like I do. I said, like, I joked when I got these, like, how much is in them, because these are huge tubes. They're 50 ml tubes. But, like, I have now used up... Look at that. I have used up what? That'd be like a quarter, a third. I've used up a third of this already. Even though it's been, gosh, I'd have to scroll back. It's been over a year since I bought these. I forget when Altenew came out with them. And then I was like, ooh, add to cart. Didn't even think anything of it. And then I got them and I was like, oh my God, these are enormous. What the heck? But yeah, I've used up that much. And the black, even though I love my black splatter, I've used up like not quite a quarter. Yeah, maybe almost a quarter of the tube. Not bad. Not bad. You know? I love my splatter. I love my splatter. What can I say? So, I just need to let that fully dry. I need to, oh, I didn't do that. I need a piece of white cardstock for the inside of my card. And yeah, this'll work. This'll work. I just need to trim down. I lost my paper. There it is. It's like I lost my paper trimmer. Good Lord. Okay. I'm going to trim down a piece for the inside of the card. So that'll also be 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Save those for future card insides, whatever. And then I need to stamp a sentiment from... Where did I put that stamp? I just wiped it off. What did I do with it? You guys, I already lost the stamp that I used. Oh, that's not good. Not cool, man.
What happened?
I lost my stamp.
Oh no.
Yeah, what did I do with it? I had it in my hand like 2 seconds ago. Did I leave it in there? No, I didn't. I was literally wiping it off and then I just... I hope I didn't put it in the trash like an idiot. I'll find it afterwards. Whatever. It's going to be in a stupid spot yet again.
Of course.
Good job, Amy. Anyway, it's around here somewhere.
You have such a pile.
I have so much crap here that it could be literally, it'll be stuck to something dumb because I just had it in my hand and I don't know what I did with it. Ugh, why? Why? I don't know where it went. It grew legs and walked away. Okay. Anyway, it'll be here somewhere. And thankfully there's not really much in my trash can, so I will be going through my trash can when I'm done this to find it, because I don't know. My brain completely stopped. Whatever. I'll find it. I'm not too concerned. It only sucks when the trash can's full, and then it's like, oh, I do not want to have to dig through that entire trash can. Anywho, okay, let's center another stamp from that same Inside Greetings 1 set. Yeah, what on earth did I do with the darn thing? I just had it. Okay, got that. And then I'm going to stamp the sentiment with black ink. So my VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, my go-to, perfection. This stamp I'm going to wipe off and put back on the packaging right now, which is what I should have been doing. And I don't even know what was going through my head. It's not stuck to my water cup either. It'll be around. It'll be around somewhere. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Always digging for scraps in mine that I convince myself to throw out and find myself eating. Yep. All the time. It's always something. You know, I spend more time looking for things because I'm a disorganized mess lately than I do actually getting things done. I probably dropped it on the floor is what happened, and whatever. I will find it because this is going to drive me nuts. So as soon as the live is over, I'm going to hunt for it. Hunt for the missing stamp. Okay, so I've got my little extra floral bits, and I thought I would just kind of tuck them in, and then I'll add the little greenery bits while I'm at it, because that's why I did extras, so I can kind of stick them. Just kind of cut them apart, and then I can stick them in. Yeah. That'll work. I don't want to go that way. Yeah, I can do that. Okay. There we go. Doop, doop, doop. No, it wasn't under my MISTI. I looked under it. It wasn't stuck to my MISTI. It's not stuck to my glue press. It's not stuck to my ink pads. And it's not stuck to my water cup. So it's either... Oh, no! I found it! Ha!
Did you?
It was it. I was like, I couldn't feel it the first time because I was wiping it off with the wipe.
Oh,
and then I always put them in a little cup, and it was still in there, and because I was like, moved on. Okay, crisis averted. Stamp has been found. Putting it in its home where it belongs. We're good. Literally, that's me. That's how I create. I spend more time wandering around. I can't remember what it was the one day that I was like ranting to you about. That I spent like 45 minutes in here, like trying to find something, and it was on my desk the entire time. And it wasn't the foam tape. I did that once too.
It's always in the last place you look.
Oh, I literally was like wandering around in here trying to find it, whatever it was, and I was getting so upset because it was something I need. You know, my brain was just fixated on this one, and it was on my desk in front of my face the entire time. It's like wandering around looking for your car keys when they're in your hand the whole bloody time. Life is great. Anyway, okay, so my little chopped up leaves here, I'm just going to stick them to the inside. And then, I'm going to just go like that. Just like that. And then I can, yeah, tuck these guys in and amongst the sentiment. And that's why I painted those extra little pieces, the little flower centerpiece, because the ones on here I'm going to add bling to. There's a method to the madness. There's usually a method to the madness. Other times I'm just insane, is what it is. You never know what you're going to get. So we'll adhere that one. And then I do that with my phone all the time. I have literally, this happened a while ago. I was like I was sitting in bed and I ripped apart the entire bed and I was like starting to get really upset looking for my phone. Like I was starting to get upset while I was on the phone. Like I was so in the conversation and then I started having like a panic attack searching for my phone. I was like, I can't find my phone. And I'm like, I was on it, talking in. My therapy needs therapy. All right. So yeah. Such is life. How about searching for your phone using the flashlight? Yeah, basically, happens a lot. I still haven't found that pack of watercolor paper. That one, it's been months and months and months. No idea where it went. It's going to be, again, I'm going to find it in a really weird spot. I know it. And I'm going to be really annoyed when I do find it, but whatever. Okay. Anywho. Get all those little greavely bits, and then we'll just kind of tuck that one in rather. Add the little flower center. Doop. And then tuck that in right there. Hey, get in. No, I didn't have enough glue. That's why I was like, okay. Get in your home. Go where you belong. There we go. There we go. There. So it's got a little extra. Trust me, as you get older, it gets even worse. Yep. Yep. Okay. I've done that before on the phone with my son. He's like, how are you doing? Well, I'm glad to know I'm not the only one whose brain just completely, fully shuts off. Like, oh my goodness. But hey, I found the stamp, and I didn't have to like rewatch my live or rip apart this entire room to find it. So that's a win. That's a win. Linda, the embosser. I'll get to that in a second. Just let me adhere this first. So I'm adhering the panel to the inside of my card. Okay. Embossing powder. Yeah, I have a massive container of it. Yeah, and yes, the reverse tweezers. You need multiples. One, I love my reverse tweezers. They're so handy. And I don't like telling people what to buy, but if you're interested in reverse tweezers, get more than one. If you only have one, it is a scientific fact. I have scientifically proven this. When you only have one, you will never find them. Ever. Ever. They grow legs and walk away. Constantly. When I only owned one pair of reverse tweezers, I could never find them. So I got extras, because they're pretty cheap and sometimes they're on sale. That's always a good thing too. I now have multiples. I've never lost a pair since I got multiples. Once they have a friend, they're good. Anyway, embossing powder. There are roughly, where's a diddly. Let me just, you guys, I need a bigger boat. Where's my embossing powder drawer? Okay. This is a standard size container of embossing powder. Like this standard. I don't think it ever says like grams or anything. It doesn't matter. This is like a standard size. This is a Systema sandwich container. The container I linked to that Simon sells isn't as big as this. It's about this. It's about this big. In my like white gold, my most used embossing powders, there is the equivalent of at least 5 of these in here. You do not need that much embossing powder. I don't even need that much per se. I do this as a job. I make a lot. I use a lot of embossing powder. But the only reason I started using these containers is because I ended up with so many containers of embossing powder. I have been sent a lot of them, like, because especially the Simon, which is what I use a lot, but they've included their embossing powder in a lot of kits over the years. And I literally ended up with so many containers of embossing powder. And I dumped them all into it. So my most used, I keep in these containers. So I've got my white, gold, clear, silver, the Wow Clear Matte Dull. I'll get to that in a second, etc. But no, you don't. One container of embossing powder will last you an insanely long time. Full stop. What I used to do before these is I used to just use coffee filters, which, I do still have them. These coffee filters. So I do my embossing, pour it over, and then I funnel it back into the container. I did that for years. And I still do it with ones, my individual containers that there's no need. My specialty powders that I don't need massive amounts. So yeah, no one needs this much embossing powder. You just don't. Like, this is insane. It's a lot. The only difference, and I don't have the container to show, is because most of them, like I said, this is about a standard size. There's a couple other brands that make larger ones. Wow being one of them. I don't have it to show, but Wow's embossing powders come either in these little containers, which are like about half as much, but they do have some bigger containers, I assume, of just their basics. So the Wow Clear Matte Dull embossing powder that I use a lot, I ordered the bigger container. It's literally like, it's huge. I showed it on Instagram. It was years ago. Because when I got it in my order, I was like, it's like the equivalent of, I think, 4 of these. It's huge. So in this is, I think, just that one container of the Wow, and then I had a small one. I think that's what's in here. But other than that, you just don't. Copy paper works too. Copy filter or just copy paper. You know, you can just use, because you don't need like insane amounts of embossing powder unless, say, maybe you were doing like a batch of a bajillion cards of some sort that are all involving heat embossing with a certain specific color that maybe, you need like a bunch of. But yeah, I converted to those containers because I had so much, and I do it as a job. So for me, it made sense to have that. But yeah, the regular card makers, you don't. Even when I was doing it as a job, like up until whatever point, I think I just finally broke. I think it was because my drawer was so full of embossing powders, and I got another couple in a kit or something, and I was done. I had no more space, and I had like 10 containers of white and 5 containers of gold and all this stuff, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So dumped them all into containers, and they're good. I have regular sizes, large containers with clear and white. Yeah, like something like that. Yeah, something like your most used, like a clear, a white, and maybe like a gold. That totally, even for regular card might make a little more sense. But even then, you don't need like as much as I have in here. Like, same with like my gold. This is probably 5 or 6 containers of embossing powder in here. And yeah, you know, it just happened. It just happened. Okay, I need to. Do I want to pop this up with foam tape too? Yeah, I think I do. So let's put Big Mama foam tape on the back of this one. Can you mix brands of embossing powder? Okay, we're going to take a little side journey. Yes. Most embossing powder, most of it. I cannot prove this. I'm speaking from my opinion. Most of it comes from the same place. And the brands name it whatever they want. My white embossing powder, contains Simon Says Stamps white. Oh, I didn't label this one. This white embossing powder has Simon's Detail White, which is what I linked to. I've been using it for years. It has Brutus Monroe's Alabaster White. Looks exactly the same, so that got dumped in here. And 2 or 3 other brands. This one I didn't label. I did label some of my other ones. So they're the exact same. I tested them before I and I could see zero difference between just the powder and the end result. So dumped them into the container. My gold is Simon's Gold Embossing Powder. Ranger's Princess Gold is the same color. Avery L. Rich Gold Metallic was the same. Ink on 3's Gold Rush. All the same exact shade of gold. So I dumped them into a container. And now I need to and then I use those triangle trays. The little embellishment trays. I put those, I have those in there, and that's what I use to scoop them. So yeah, those are the same. Oh, and Brutus Monroe Gilded. I think. I have not confirmed that one, but I think Brutus Monroe Gilded embossing powder is also the same shade of gold. Yeah. So that's that one. Clear is clear for the most part. And then there's another favorite of mine. Oh yeah, another favorite is Ink on 3 Strawberry Champagne. I love this one. It's like a very, very rose gold. And that one is the Ton Rose Gold, Avery L Rose Gold Metallic, Ink on 3 Strawberry Champagne, Lawn Fawn's Rose Gold, and Gina K's Rose Gold. Because I purchased every single one of those because I was curious, see them online. And I was like, ooh, pretty, add to cart. And then they're all the same color, hence it becoming an entire container. So there's that one. And then Simon's Antique Gold, which is a different shade than, you can actually see that. That's regular gold. That's antique gold. Is the same as Hero Arts Brass, Ranger's Gold, and Altenew's Rose Gold. They're the same color. So, yeah. The only one that is unique, Ranger's Liquid Platinum. I haven't found anything that's the same color as Ranger's Liquid Platinum embossing powder. That one's unique as far as I'm aware, but I haven't ordered new embossing powders in a long time because I don't need them. So that's that on that. Okay. I now need to put these back where that goes over there. And then these ones I keep just on a calyx shelf beside me. I just dropped my Big Mama foam tape. Can you grab that for me? It went all the way over to you.
It did. It just really wanted to introduce itself to me again.
Well, you got to see the foam tape. So that's all my thoughts on embossing powder. Have you ever had a white embossing powder yellow on you over time? Nope. Some of my embossing powder is years and years and years old. Why the matte dull? It just depends on my mood. The Wow Clear Matte Dull, I like it because it gives dimension, but it doesn't give the shine. So it doesn't look embossed, but it gives me the embossing. So I use that when I'm watercoloring. It literally is a mood thing. It's I don't want shiny today, so I'll use the Clear Matte Dull. That's it. That's the only reason. It's neat. Yeah, and I've never had any of my embossing powders. Not only have they never yellowed, they've never gone bad. Technically embossing powder can't go bad. I don't know why that became a thing. Embossing powder is just a ground up plastic. That's all it is. Teeny little plastic particles, just microscopic, little tiny plastic. It can't go bad. There's no organic matter in it. It can't go bad. That said, people have, there are those that argue with me and they're like, I opened a really old container. It was really clumpy. You can just shake it up. If moisture gets into it, it can start to clump. But caveat though to what I just said, certain really cheap embossing powders might not work as well. There is a brand with a big chain store. Their embossing powders are hot garbage. Full stop. I tried them way back in the day. One, they smelled funny. They definitely were not made in the same place that all our favorite brands get their stuff from. and they smelled funny and they didn't emboss very well. And I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But technically, embossing powders don't go bad. I have had some of these colors. I've had some of these embossing powders I've literally had for over a decade. Never had an issue. So that's just my thoughts on all of that. I would think that we would need to make sure it's the same color and type, aka detail. Oh yeah, like all those ones that I showed, I made sure. Like the granulation of them, they weren't super fine. I've got a couple of like ultra fine powders that are different. Or if the color, like I swatched all of mine before, like when I was testing them, and the colors were the exact same. They embossed the same, they looked the same, it was the same. So I dumped them into a container. They work. Can you blend colors and make your own shade of embossing powder? Kind of, but not really, because again, they're little think of it as little balls, little, just really tiny, little tiny grains of plastic. So you can kind of mix, but you're not going to get like a shade per se. You're just going to have like little specks of different colors. Couldn't hurt to try. You know, you can do that with like the Ranger or the Distress embossing glazes, because those ones are transparent. But you can't hurt to like experiment a bit. But would I actually try to like make my own color? No. No. It would be, yeah. It would and depending on what you're embossing, if you're embossing like a line image, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. But if it was like a solid, like a large area, and you had like more than one color mixed together, it's gonna look like speckly. It's not gonna be like a smooth image because you're melting like little pieces, if that makes sense. Okay. But you definitely can use like more than one color. And I've done that in past videos. It's been a really long time. But like taking an image and like adding one color and then adding another color, you know, and then heat embossing it, it works. So I have some that are labeled as thick. Yeah. Any of those ones that are like ultra thick, like chunky, that are not the same granulation, those are separate. I keep those in a separate like container. I don't really work with the thick embossing powders. Those used to be like the ultra thick embossing powders. We called it UT. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you if I have a container of it, it's like buried under stuff. I haven't worked with ultra thick embossing powder in years. It's not my thing. You can do some neat stuff with it, but it's just I never had fun working with that stuff, so I just quit using it. So that's my side rant on embossing powder.
What a rant it was.
Yeah, not really a rant, I guess, just an informational session. But yeah, I keep several brands all mixed together, and because they're the exact same thing. It's fine, you know. And no one needs 5+ containers of any one color. Even for how much I use embossing powder, because again, I do this as a job. I use a lot of embossing powder, etc. I've barely made a dent in those containers. I have a lot, and no one needs that much. It's nuts. It's nuts. So I'm putting Big Mama foam tape on the back of this. In my head, I was like, why is this like so? There was like dust all over it. Well, it's because it hit the floor and rolled over to Chris. It was trying to escape. Yeah, it tried to make its escape. Didn't get far enough. Sorry, foam tape. You're gonna. No, there's way too much stuff in here. This place is a mess. What else is new? Okay. Okay. So. There we go. Peel off the backing. So I'll give this a little bit of dimension, which is what I love. There we go. Cat hair. Yeah, cat hair. Me, it's my own hair. I'm always finding my hair on it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's all over the house. Okay. Now we need to center this on the card base. Make sure you got clearance. There we go. Then we got to add some bling, which bling, snack dish, aka the boot dish. And these are the Warm Tones Positively Dazzling gems. I did get 3 pairs of reverse tweezers. Good for you, Kathleen. Good for you. You do. You need, yeah, you need multiple pairs. They come in handy. And they're actually having, not just my joke about them like walking off. I've shown that in videos where I'm making something and I use the reverse tweezers to pinch whatever I've glued together closed, you know, so I can move on to the next thing. And so having multiples, it's like I'll have 3 pairs, you know, holding things together while I'm off doing whatever else. They're like extra little pairs of hands. Love it. Love it. Okay. I'm going to use these as my flower centers. Because, hello. I need to tuck a little foam piece behind that flower. It's annoying me. There it is. Okay. I need that. Peel off that. And again, reverse tweezers for the win. This one flower's bugging me, so I'm gonna push him up. No, don't get stuck to the card. Get in your home. There we go. There we go. Now it's not bugging me as much. Or much better. Okay. There we go. Need a new poop dish with a little divot. One of Kathy Zielski's subscribers made this little like plastic funnel thingy. I think like 3D printed it, and it says boop on it as well, that this can tilt into. And yeah, so I'm not sure who it was. I know Kathy's shown it a couple of times in her lives, and whoever the person is, hopefully they do like market it or something, because I would get one because it's like, oh, cute. I honestly don't have a hard time getting these. I'll show getting them back in the container. I like my little boop dish. It's cute. My friend Mari got it for me, which was a nice little surprise because it had sold out before I could get it the first time. And then she gifted me one, and I like it. And it is a nice little snack dish. Just, you know, just saying. So we're going to add that one. Why am I bothering to like place? I just need to glue them. What am I doing? Just glue them into place. So a little dab of glue. Glue. Burp. 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 And while I'm doing that, the unpaid intern can pick a winner.
Oh, yeah.
For me to mail the card to. So let's tuck those little guys into there. Smaller one for that guy. Just cause. And that one. And then do I want to add some pink ones? Why not? Why not? Why not? So if I tuck in that one's red. I don't want a red one. Yes. Okay. There we go. Missed something. Okay. Yeah, Chris, it's your time to shine.
I'm already shining.
Okay, we'll add a few more just as little extra embellishments. Just like so. Add the glue. Press it down. There we go. Okay. And then, yeah, when it comes to just getting them back in the container, I just kind of get them all like that. And then just like that. Boop. It works. It works. Okay. I really like the Wow embossing powders. Yeah, Wow makes great embossing powders. Wow, because that's like their like thing. They make an insane amount of like sparkly colors, like so many. I've got a few of their embossing powders, and yeah, they're great. I love the Wow embossing powders. Okay, I think I am done this. Yeah, the card is done. Let me. There we go. So there is our finished card with ink smushed background and watercolored little Primula, aka Primrose, and heat embossing and bling and splatter, all the things. And then the inside, little pop of color. And yeah, this was fun. This was fun. It worked. Let me switch over. There we go. There we go. Do we have a winner?
We do. Today's winner is CC from South Carolina.
CC in South Carolina.
Yep.
So yeah, like always, I make a disclaimer. Who knows when I'll get the cards mailed out? However, most likely this week. Although that said, what is the date today? 18th. Oh, I am planning on going to the post office Tuesday because tomorrow's a holiday here, right? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, Monday's a holiday here. I am planning on going to the post office Tuesday morning because I have cards I need to mail out. I have to mail out the last live winner. I have this one plus other ones. And that said, there might be a big delay because I haven't heard anything yet. But Canada Post was planning on going back on strike. Was that Friday?
Something like that. We were getting like service disruptions anytime you log into any app.
Yeah, Thursday. They announced that they were going to go on strike as of Thursday. And I haven't heard anything. I'm hoping they can get that resolved before going on strike again. I'm waiting. I'm waiting on Simon's June card kit hasn't arrived yet for me. Because that came out last week. And yeah, that's why I haven't had a video with it because I don't have it. It hasn't shown up. So I'm hoping that gets here before this. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. So we'll see. Yeah, they need to get a deal worked out.
They really do.
For the workers. This is ridiculous how long it's taken, but things have been just crazy. So hopefully they can get that dealt with.
Maybe things will go better with the fact that there's a new government in power now.
Well, yeah, I assume that now that the new Canadian, again, we don't talk politics here, but you know, there was a new after the election and yada yada yada, all the things. I'm hoping that this will be a high priority, so that they will deal and like make a deal and make it work and that it's fair to the workers. Because as I've talked about this before, we are a union family. So Chris is a union worker. He may be my unpaid. He's my unpaid intern because he's got a real job. And it's a union job, thank goodness. So we are big union supporters in this household. So anywho, we will see what all happens, and yeah, hopefully the card kit gets here this week before
Stuff goes wrong.
Either before a strike or hopefully the strike can be averted completely. At least it won't be so bad for them as it was. Was that last year? That was last year. I'm just like, my sense of time is so out the window. Yeah, last year's strike was leading up to Christmas. I felt so bad for the workers because, like, some of those days when they were out striking, it was getting close to like -40. It was not fun. And it just, yeah, like Christmas cards, like all the Christmas cards I sent out, people didn't get them till well into February. It's like February, March, I think, when everyone finally got their Christmas cards from me because I didn't even bother mailing them out until well after the strike ended because it ended. Did it end after Christmas or before? I don't even remember.
It was a little bit.
I think it was a bit before Christmas,
Yeah.
but I was like, I ain't going near the post office until they've had time to work through the backlog because there was like millions of packages and it was nuts. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So yeah, we will see what happens and yeah, hopefully the kit gets here. Everything else I'm expecting is all the brands I work with and stuff usually ship things to me like UPS, FedEx, etc. So I'm not too concerned about any of that. Like I said in the beginning, and yes, thanks to the disembodied hand. He always needs to get his little wave in. I will have a lot of content coming. These last 2 weeks have been a lot for me to deal with. And again, doing a job like this where you need to be creative. It's like, I can't even tell you guys, like yesterday, I sat at this desk for a long time. That's where I got cards filled out that I need to mail out. But I wasn't even sure if I was going to go live today because I was like, I got nothing. There's nothing. But this worked. It's kind of a take on a card I already did. Similar layout and whatnot, but just different colors, different background, you know. There's ways to do that. So, yeah, I will have a lot of videos coming because I've got a lot of things to catch up on. And yeah, I have a lot of Simon videos coming. I have a lot of Altenew videos coming because Altenew's May release was, and I did one post without a video. I have a bunch more videos coming. And then I might try to do a bonus live or two. No promises. We'll see. I got so many things. So, yeah. I'm just reading everyone's comments. You share so much. Please don't worry. Yeah, it's my job. That's the thing. If I'm not putting out content, I'm not getting paid. Like, that is one of the joys of being self-employed. Sometimes it's a good thing. Other times it's just the beast you got to deal with when it comes to life events or tech issues, yada, yada, yada. It just is. And, huh? Yes, fingers crossed, knock on wood, send the prayers up, throw the salt, etc. The gremlins, for the most part, the tech gremlins have left me alone for a while, which usually means I'm due for a visit, but for the most part, it's been navigatable, like instead of being pure chaos. But that's just life. So, anyway, I appreciate all of you. I thankfully found that stamp, so I do not have to rip apart this space try to find that stamp. And I'll do the photo and the social medias and all the things for this, and then just stay tuned because, as always, I'm never scheduled other than my Sunday lives. Sundays, 2 p.m. Central. That's the only schedule I stick to. Everything else is just like in and amongst literal chaos. Such is life. And then, yeah, we got errands to run and a million things. A million things to deal with, as always. And I have zipper pouches stacked up. Love it. Love it. And yeah, I appreciate you guys tons. You guys make it worth it. And I will see you all either in a pre-recorded video or possibly a bonus live. Like I said, I'm hoping I can do 1 or 2 this week. I always say that and then life is just like, ha, no, you know? But I will post, if I'm able to, I will post that like as much of a heads up, you know, on my channel, you know, on the posts, and then my Facebook page. So people, if you don't follow me on Facebook, I always have that linked. It's in the bottom of the description box on all my videos. You just scroll down, it's at the very bottom. I give people as much of a heads up and be like, hey, I'm going live in like 30 minutes, you know, that sort of thing. So I appreciate all of you, and I will talk to all of you later. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!